RM back with more of my real moments, and I tend to look at the glass, or in this case, old jelly glass, as half full, such is the case as I go to work each day at Ross, where the talk seems to be that I should be the new manager to replace the departing Jacob. I've been studying the STEP deep dive guide, and while we at Ross currently do most of these things, that's probably generous. We do at least half of these things. There are a lot of things that we haven't been doing. And I think Jacob is an excellent manager. Love working with him. Hate to see him go, but following him, I might have to be the bad guy and make sure that we are adhering to all of these guidelines. For example, one of them is when tagging shoes, you write the rounded up price on the bottom of the left shoe, and the size goes in the right shoe. And Shaska, the girl with whom I was tagging shoes today, was not doing that. So I may have to be the person who says, oh, we're not following the STEP deep dive guide, even though as a teacher I was anything but a rule follower, hence the reason I am not teaching anymore. And should fate decree that I end up being a manager, I started talking about this last night, I started a notebook to keep track of my ideas. One of them is meet with each employee for suggestions for improvement. I would like to just say, okay, what do you see as something we need to do differently? Today, each staff member had the opportunity to take a survey. I rated everyone really highly. That's right. Well, all of the categories really highly. And, either agree or strongly agree. I don't believe in the middle category where you don't have an opinion. Have an opinion. And I picked either the top category or the top rating or the second to the top rating. I would also, like I mentioned yesterday, email a newsletter for updates because I never feel like I know what's going on. Having each employee who wants to adopt an area of the store to maintain it, then post a sign showing that employee's name and information, just so that maybe we could straighten the store up some. And in the morning, I want to congregate employees for a quick overview of the daily events, like how many items are on the truck, when the next inventory is, those kinds of things. So I have a lot of ideas. If I were to be promoted to manager, I would do so with great trepidation because that's almost becoming like too obsessive about what I'm doing, and I've been down that road many times before. We'll just have to take each day as it comes. And should I have the opportunity to move into management, there are some terms that I'm going to state, one of which is I'm not going to spend my life over there. No more than 37 hours a week am I going to spend in that place. I love it, but I also want to keep a balance, especially since I've worked my entire life, and the hours I have right now are perfect. Kason, my niece's boyfriend, interviewed today, and Jacob and I have conspired to not only make sure he gets hired, but also help him to really truly appreciate getting this job at Ross. So I talked to Jacob this morning about, we want to make Kason feel as if this job is not some snap that he's going to be able to accomplish easily, and that attaining it is going to be something that just happens overnight. That, it's going to take some effort, and maybe hopefully he will appreciate it even more. So Kason doesn't drive, so my niece drove him over there, and as I was departing at about 11:20, yes, thumbs up, I saw Laura, my niece, driving Kason over for his interview. And as I was preparing my lunch, and I kind of kept a weather eye out through my front window for when they returned, and when they did, I galumphed over there and queried Kason about how it went. He seemed to think it went really well. We shall see. I would love for Kason to really get the hang of this job and really love doing it, so that I would have, see, my managers, specifically Jacob, has a Ron McCoy who keeps track of things and keeps things going and works hard. I need a Ron McCoy because if I'm manager, I won't have a Ron McCoy to run around and get things done, in my own humble opinion, of course. Well, I'm going to start a new section in this video, and that is a pet peeves section. I headed over to Hy-Vee because I have no fresh fruit or frozen fruit or anything. I ate my last Colorado peach this afternoon, so I felt like I needed the fruit, so I headed on over there. And grammatical issues. So as I come up there to the 12 items or less checkout at Hy-Vee, the girl who is the cashier asks me, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing well. How are you?" Her response is, "I'm doing good." And I always want to say, you're doing good things, because good is an adjective, not an adverb. And that's not just the teacher in me. I was this way long before I became a teacher. I just don't know why grammar is so bad everywhere that you go. And, typically, and I'm not necessarily an advocate for always going to college because, college isn't for everyone. But typically those who have gone to college have much better grammar. And Jacob has better grammar. He's a college graduate, but one of the people I work with was talking about her children go to or went to, some of them still go to, Warren Hills Elementary School and Liberty Public Schools. And I said, well, how do they like going over there? And she talked about one of her sons didn't want to go to school because the librarian was being mean to his entire class. And then this girl referred to said library as the library, and she said it more than once. And I'm thinking, is she talking about a pie made with a certain type of berry, a certain type of fruit? I thought, in this day and age, someone still refers to that place as the library? I catch grammatical mistakes all the time, and I as a kid I would correct people, and I was warned not to, even though my mom was always correcting my grammar and my grandmother Moore was always correcting my grammar. I even corrected my grandmother McCoy, whose grammar was atrocious. She did not go to high school. She claimed she didn't go to high school because she didn't have nice clothes to wear, but she was very smart. And she kept track of the finances. My grandfather was a farmer. He actually went out and worked in the fields and so forth, took care of the farm animals. She took care of the finances. She was smart, but her grammar was atrocious and she mispronounced words and so forth. I kind of think maybe there might have been like a learning disability as far as reading was concerned, because she would mispronounce words like debris, Debris. She pronounced it derbish, those kinds of things. So I've always kind of wondered about that. And I know my sister Sandy, when she was growing up, would reverse her letters. Like maybe she was dyslexic or something. Like she wrote on something, Sandy's Docs, D-O-X. And I always thought that was odd, instead of Sandy's Box, B-O-X. Anyway, such is life. None of us is perfect. And as I continue to traverse my adventures in the wonderful world of Ross, my mind continues to swirl around with regard to how life might be different if I am a manager in that place. I can't imagine it would be much different, except in the morning I would be scanning the boxes as they come in, which means then I wouldn't be in the pod slicing open boxes and putting merchandise into Hummers and blue bins. More than anything, I'm just concerned that we'll be down one person. And even though I noticed that when Jacob and I were in the office looking over the people who have applied to work at Ross, and there were a multitude, it doesn't seem like enough people are being hired. And I guess, I don't know why, unless they just don't qualify, or there's some other mitigating circumstance that prevents them from coming over there. I don't know, but we need qualified, self-motivated people. People who are not afraid of hard work. And Yvonne was talking about, well, I was talking about the fact that, why are people not self-motivated? And why are people who are 22, 23, like Kaysen, saying that they never worked anywhere other than maybe one place? And recently he worked at Walgreens, I don't know how long, I've mentioned this before, in his early 20s. But why are parents allowing their teenagers to pass through teenagehood without actually having a job? This girl, Shaska, same thing. Her parents, when she had a baby at age 19, finally said, you need to get a job to support this baby. I don't know, I guess that was punitive. I don't know, because she got pregnant. But until that point, they just bought her everything she wanted. How does that help a kid? I do not understand. And then in the stockroom today, I was saying, well, I had to buy my own car. My parents didn't buy my car for me. And they paid for half the college. I mentioned that before. I don't go down that road again. Oh, well, that's my, and I said, I wonder how Kaysen and I are going to get along at work, because it's a baby boomer versus Generation Z. And I have nothing against Generation Z. I think I'll stop there. I could keep going on, as I've mentioned before. I will go on in the next RM Real Moments. Incredible things are indeed coming.